money, 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 money. Crazy about my money. Money, 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 money. Crazy about my money.
When it comes to investing, one of the common questions you get asked is, what's the difference between saving money and actually investing money? And believe it or not, there is a difference between the two. A lot of times we use those terms interchangeably. We say things like, how much are you saving in your 401k? Or that's my entire life savings. In actuality, though, that is investing. And so there is a nuanced difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about saving money, really what we're doing is setting aside dollars. And more importantly, what we're doing is setting aside dollars that we traditionally could have spent.
Right.
So if you earn more than you spend, typically there's a balance there or a delta there, and you are able to set that aside into a checking account. Now that's saving. And when you're saving, you're not necessarily earning interest on that. You're not necessarily doing anything other than really delaying that spending in time.
Right. And that's really one of the first things that you teach children. Whenever you have kids and you're teaching them about money management, you say, hey, all that birthday money you just got, make sure you save some. And so as you get older, you get a little bit more savvy with what you want your money to do for you. And you move beyond just wanting your money to accumulate from your own efforts. You want your money to actually begin to make money and grow beyond that.
Absolutely. So let's introduce a concept that we like to call the philosophy of money. There are really three things that you can do with any dollar that you set aside. You can either spend it, you can loan it, or you can own it.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to spend it?
So we all have to spend money on a variety of things. We have to buy shoes, we have to buy clothes, we have to buy food, we have to buy all the bare necessities of life. And unfortunately, that's going to take up the bulk of all of your paycheck and all of your money. But there's typically money left over that you have two choices of something you can do with. And we don't typically think of money in that way, but you can loan your money to entities.
Right. Yeah. So I'll give you some examples. You can loan money to a bank. A CD is a great example of that. You can loan money to a corporation. It can be a corporate bond, or you can loan money to a city or a municipality, and that's a municipal bond. You can loan money to a family member. That's a bad idea.
It is.
The other thing we can do with money is we can own something, right?
Yeah, you can own all sorts of things. You can own real estate, you can own land, you can own your own business and run it on a day-to-day level. If you don't want the headache and the hassle of making business decisions every day and running your own business, you can become a part owner in other companies that are already viable companies, and that's called stock ownership. And so stock ownership is a way that you can build wealth. Even if you don't want the headache of picking and choosing individual stocks, you can own mutual funds that do that for you. There's a wide variety of things that you can own. Each one of those things has dramatically different characteristics, though.
Absolutely. So the question is, how much do you actually put in each of those buckets, right? And, obviously age, or really more importantly, time horizon, risk tolerance, those are some of the things, the factors that go into dictating how much you have in each bucket. And really what that's called is asset allocation. That's really where advisors like ourselves come into play.
Yeah.
It's helping to dictate where those dollars go.
And believe it or not, that's really what we think about a lot when we're trying to determine a client's asset allocation. It's really a function of how much do we have in each bucket? How much do we have in the riskier bucket that has the potential to grow? And how much do we have in the bucket that is stable and has the ability to generate income? And believe it or not, it's not always an age-based thing. A lot of clients who are already in retirement have a much higher risk tolerance, and maybe they're not even using that money. It's really designed for the heirs. So it's not always so cut and dry as just, you're this age, this should be your asset allocation.
Absolutely. So when we talk about stability, in many cases, that's associated with lending money, right? That's associated with things like lending money to a bank in the form of a CD, right? It's about what we talked about, lending money to a corporation or a municipality. That's where you tend to see more stability, is through the lending bucket, right? The ownership bucket can bring about a little more fluctuation, though, right?
It can, and the funny thing is, everyone's generally comfortable with some form of ownership because you own your own house, you own assets, you own things that you don't necessarily get a statement on, that you see those values. And so if you're investing in the stock market, though, you see those changes in values every single day. Whereas you don't necessarily when you own a home. But regardless of which path of ownership you go, and there's not necessarily a right or a wrong, you almost have to have some element of ownership in order to balance out that that equation and make sure that you're both gaining wealth as well as generating income and protecting your assets.
So that asset allocation piece, you see things like a 60-40 portfolio. In many cases, that's kind of the gold standard, if you will, of just historical asset allocation.
Right.
Now, it can fluctuate. And I think that's a big part of working with an advisor to understand where you actually maybe allocate a little bit more towards risk and allocate a little bit more towards stability.
Right, absolutely. In general, what we found is thinking about your own financial situation in this way can help you really understand your risks and your expectations for how your investments might actually perform.
Absolutely. And working with your own financial professional and really being informed about these types of things will allow you to be more confident in your investment plan moving forward.
Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Crazy about my money.